Hey guys, how you going? And welcome back to another episode of In the Sheds. Now we're up to episode 15 now, and this is the Wednesday episode where we're going to be talking about all things live sport right now. Yes, it's obviously Sundays at 8 a.m. AEST is when we talk to the players, and last week we had on Anthony Don, fantastic chat, Gold Coast Titans winger, and he's been through it all. So if you haven't listened to that one yet, you definitely need to go and check that one out because that was unbelievably fantastic. But this Sunday as well, we've got Tetaroa Tahurirangi from the All Blacks and the Chiefs, and he's an unbelievable guy as well. So, you know, it's really good meeting all these different people in different sports, and we've got so many players lined up, and it's definitely exciting. But today, guys, we've got Aiden over here. We've got Herbie here. I will introduce them in a second, but I'm just excited to talk some live sport because there is so much going on right now. You know, the rugby league, we've just gotten past round 5. You know, we've got the buddy Premier League that's starting up this weekend. We've got buddy Super Rugby that started up last weekend. We've got buddy, what's it called? Buddy AFL, the big one. You know, that came up last weekend, and it's been an incredible week. I've got so much going on, and I'm just keen to talk about everything right now. And I'm struggling to fit it into an hour and 10 minutes. So, so let's get cracking. Obviously, Hayden, Entertain House, the co-host of In the Sheds. How you doing, champion?
Yeah, doing good, mate. Looking forward to having a chat with Jamesy today. And you mentioned Tetaroa, our guest on Sunday. I'll tell you what.
I love it. Call him Jamesy. Call him Jamesy the whole podcast too. That's brilliant. Yeah. I love it.
There we go. You need to set your alarms, guys. 8 a.m. It's actually one of my favourites. I really enjoy this podcast. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's great from a perspective of a leadership and people who are aspiring to be athletes. I think it's one of our best.
Yeah, no, I love Tetaroa's one, and obviously All Blacks is just an incredible achievement. So, yeah, definitely do set your alarms. But guys, we've also got another person here who is one of the listeners, actually, one of you guys, a good friend of mine. I've known him for about over 10 years now. Unfortunately, he's a great bloke, but he is also a GWS fan, which you're about to see with his jumper, which does come under the unfortunate category. There's good bloke category, and he's like under the good bloke category, but it's like half of good bloke and unfortunate because he's got the GWS jumper on. Let's welcome in the big fella, James, or we'll call him Jamesy, or we'll call him Herbie. Which one you want, mate? We're welcome him in. Welcome him in. Here he is.
G'day, guys. Oh, wow, that's a bit harsh coming from you, Hayden. You know, I heard last week. And I won't lie, I heard you admit it last night that our Eels are 4-1.
Great call.
No.
Great call. No, that's a great call. He did hear it. I heard it too because I was here listening to him, and I said, "Yep, good on you, champion."
Yeah. That wasn't kosher. That's all right. We're going to talk a lot of nonsense tonight, no doubt.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of nonsense. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, mate, because, we've got so much to talk about. Obviously, we're all wearing different sports and our different teams tonight. We're going to be talking, and this is actually for the listeners at home as well, so you guys know what we're going to be talking about. So first up, we're going to be going into the AFL, and obviously Herbie down there is wearing his GWS Giants jumper. He's a massive Giants fan. Just quickly, James, obviously you've been to a grand final, something that Hayden hasn't done. Can you tell him how it feels?
It was unreal. Like my day actually started at 9 a.m. and I reckon it finished at 9 a.m. the next day.
Yep.
But because I had a good sleep, of course.
Yeah, I did.
But no, it was a great day. It sounds stupid. We got pumped by nearly 100 points, but it was probably one of the best days of my life.
I just want to reverberate on that. We've actually won Geelong. My team's Geelong, by the way, guys, if you didn't know. But we've actually won a grand final by, I think it was like 160 points. Can't even remember how many points we scored. Do you remember how many points we scored? Because it was a lot. It was like 160 points or some damn score.
It was, and I was glad that the Giants, kicked 3 goals for a whole game, but that's all right.
Well, they looked all right for the first quarter, mate. They looked all right for the first quarter, but then they didn't look all right for the rest of the quarters. Guys, let's start talking about this. And also, I want to clarify, Hayden's a Dogs fan, so he has seen a grand final, but more to the fact that he's wearing his Parramatta Eels shirt, so he definitely had seen a grand final in the NRL. AFL, I can talk because I've seen 3. He's seen none, and he's seen 1 where they've lost by 80. So, but let's get into. Are we in rubby league talk? No, we're not in rugby league. We're not in rubby league, mate. We're not talking about rugby league. We're not talking about rugby league yet. Alrighty. Let's get into the AFL before these guys start talking smackaruno. But let's get into round 2. So quickly, I'll just go through the scores. So Collinwood and Richmond was 36-36 draw. We will get into that in 2 seconds. Geelong won 108-47 over the Hawks. The Lions won 81-69 over the Dockers. Demons 54-53 over Carlton. Port Adelaide 110-35 over the Crows. We had the Suns 90-46 over the West Coast Eagles. Gee, damn well, buddy, damn well, whiz, son. Then we had North Melbourne Kangaroos over GWS Giants. I tipped the Kangas. Kanga. We had Essendon 79-73 over the Swans. And we had the St Kilda Saints getting up 88-49 over the Doggies over here. So I'm the only one with the win this week, lads. How are we all feeling?
Oh, pretty good, because at least I can escape to the NRL and just notice the Eels are on top of the ladder.
Yeah,
are we talking about 4-1,
That's
4-1, but are we talking about rugby league? We talk about AFL?
No, we're not. We're not. I'm happy to go back to round one, though, Blaze. More than happy to.
Oh, my God. Round two. Come on, let's go, lads. Collingwood, Richmond. 36-36, it was a draw. It was a low-scoring draw. James, what was your thoughts, mate? Did you enjoy it? Like, how was your thoughts on that one?
Oh, I enjoyed the last 5-10 minutes of it, because I'm thinking, geez, is he going to go down to the wire? And I'll tell you what, if Brian Taylor could yell into the microphone any louder that it's going to be a draw, I think we'd all be dead. He was going off his tree, and to steal a line from him, boy, oh boy, well, boy, what a shocking game of footy to kick us back off. It was a pretty poor standard of footy to start us off, but in one sense you can say that, the other sense you can say it was just good defensive pressure. It was the old Jose Mourinho technique, just park the bus, and if you can get a goal on the board, take it and run.
That's actually a really good analogy, actually. I think that's a really good analogy.
It was, because Damien Hardwick, he's proven he's been the best coach over the last 3-4 years, and Nathan Buckley's probably just been that step under him, and well, their two sides couldn't find a winner out of them. And I'll tell you what, both teams would want to bounce back this week. If Collinwood drop their game this week against the Saints, and surely Richmond can't lose to Hawthorn on Thursday night. But
not after what Geelong just did to him. That would have broken them.
But you'd think if either one of them did drop points again this week, that things won't be getting desperate, but might be getting a little bit,
It's a shortened season, mate. It is a shortened season. It could get desperate. But Hayden, do you reckon that with the draw, and obviously Collingwood did go up in the Collie Wobbles, they did choke it away, and Richmond arguably probably should have won that game with Jack Revolt missing an absolute bloody sitter of a shot. Do you think that anything changes from the fact that was a low scoring draw? Do you think it sets up a precedent for, say, low scoring games, or just that these two teams aren't as good as we once thought, or what's your thoughts, Hayden?
No, I think these teams are still the benchmark of the competition, arguably, at the moment. I think there is a point to be proven that, I guess, there may not be as much expectation as we thought in them. But I think Collingwood, they may have choked, but God, they're impressive. They got to a real strong start. We also thought these shorter quarters would really come into effect with it, but it didn't matter too much over the rest of the weekend. I think it was just that first game and getting used to it. I think every team will have at least a game that'll be low scoring due to the 16-minute quarters, but I don't think it'll affect the whole year.
Well, like you got to think about 16-minute quarters. So you take out 4, 8, 12, 16 minutes in total from the game of what we would usually get. So if you're seeing, for example, Geelong score 108 without that extra those extra minutes, that's mad. And I get we're talking about Richmond and Collingwood here, but there's still a couple of games that we saw some really high scoring games with 110 for Port Adelaide, and there was still a couple of teams hitting the high 80s and the 90s, and these 16-minute quarters of shithouse. I hate it. We all hate it. And there's word that they could change it. I don't think they'll change it. Will they change it? Do you reckon that they could change it to bring back the 20-minute quarters?
They can't. They can't go back on their word. It's very unlike the AFL to implement a rule and then 2 weeks later go on. It's not the standard of the game that we're used to. I saw something today. I think it was Dwayne Russell said, why don't we keep it 16-minute quarters for the home and away season and then back to the original sort of finals?
That'd be ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's just disadvantageous to everyone. That's ridiculous.
That's why they call Dwayne Russell Wayne. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he goes all right as a commentator. But we'll get through this year. How it's unprecedented circumstances. So I'm just happy we got footy on the weekend. I missed it. I know you boys missed it as well, except if you're a Western Bulldogs fan on a Sunday afternoon.
We had a beautiful. Actually, we're getting into that game right now, which was Geelong versus Hawthorn, and I had a beautiful Friday night. Talking. If you guys had seen my live stream, the whole time I was just smiling. I was just not the first half. The first half was a little bit dodgy, a little bit on the dodgy end. But the second half, we just romped it home to win by 61 points. I'm happy. This is what I said last week as well, is that I think that the Cats, I don't know if they're a top 4 team or a bottom 4 of the top 8 team. We can easily go and win the minor premiership, and I'm talking we could easily go and do that and then not win the grand final, but we could also easily be on the brink of the 8. I don't think that we miss the 8, but I think that I think that no matter what, I can't tell where we're going to be, and I think this was a good start to show that we are a better team than we were in round 1 when we got pumped by the old boys down here. But then again, GWS are like a bit of a bogey team for us, mate, I feel. Would you agree?
I do. Like I said to you previously, I don't rate Geelong highly this year.
I don't rate you highly this ever. I tell you, right now.
Don't blame you. They've got one thing on their side. They were the minor premiers last year, so they proved that they can do it in the home and away season. It's just, I don't know, some of these bodies that went around another year, they're another year older.
Gary Ablett had a great game against Hawthorn, but man, he was unreal.
He had a fantastic game. But if Gary Ablett has 6 or 7 of those games, sure, Geelong are playing finals, right? But what if that was Gary's only game of the year where he does Gary Ablett things that we're used to?
Selwood still had 28 disposals. We still had Danger get 24 disposals. Brian Myers had a great game, in my opinion. I thought he was pretty good. He kicked like 3 goals or something like that and had like 10 marks or something.
I've got Selwood. He was outstanding. I've got Selwood in my best players of the round. I reckon he was right up there.
You got to love Sally, mate. You got to love Sally.
I think the one thing that'll always hang over Geelong, which didn't on Friday night, is their ruckman. Reece Stanley had an unreal game on Friday night. I'll give that to him. But the one thing with Reece Stanley is he does that quite often. He'll have a game where we go, oh, geez, all right, he's going to claim the number 1 ruck spot. And then 3-4 weeks he's getting dropped. If he can hang around in the team, Geelong can push for finals again this year, perhaps a top 4 spot. But it's about time we see some consistent performance.
Oh yeah, I just don't know if we're about. We've kind of been on a prolonged, not rebuild, but not rebuild for a few years. That's kind of how I'd put it. It's really strange. So Geelong are interesting. They do have a lot of older players. You are 100% right, but in the same sense, as we saw in the game, they can still put on a performance.
Yeah, and all credit to them. They've got a good coach in Chris Scott. Yes, he whinges and moans like there's no tomorrow about certain things, but.
And he also destroyed our game in the... No. I'm going to tell you right now. Against that game in Richmond, he changed everything. He destroyed our bloody chances in that second half. We're not going to talk about it. But that's fantastic. Geelong got a good win there, and there you go. Let's move into the Saturday games. Obviously, the Lions, they got a good win over the Dockers. A close game, but I think we all kind of expected that. That was a shit-house game. That was the game between 2 buddy teams that wanted to lose but couldn't lose, but Carlton did, but I don't know. It's a strange one. But the Port Adelaide game and the Suns game obviously was crazy. So Port Adelaide won by a lot, and the the big Sunnies, mate. They come up trumps over West Coast by 45, not even by 1 or 2, by 45 points.
I know. It's something you're not used to, Blaze, is, a Gold Coast
side. Listen, are we talking about rugby league? Listen, you've been 36 years without a premiership in rugby league. You want me to start, boy? Huh? Yeah, there you go.
But no, the Gold Coast Suns, that was their best win of their club's existence. Second to none, that was. And Matt Rowell, he looks like he's sunburnt 24/7, but fair play to him.
He's on the Gold Coast, mate.
Well, true. Fair play to him. He's going to be a star of the competition. I read a stat somewhere that he was the quickest player to get 25 touches, 15 of them contested, take 5 marks and kick 2 goals. And it was in his second game. Yeah, well. And Joel Selwood came out and said to him that he was impressed with what he saw. And I saw Selwood actually tweeted on Saturday night that he can't wait to see Matt Rowell play for the next 15 years. So yeah,
nice.
Coming from one of the best players in this generation, that's huge.
Geno, gee whiz, look at the Australian coming out of him. This Geno, oh yeah, he's even shortened it down to the O in there. But what I want to actually ask, and we all know the Suns aren't going to make the 8. They're improving, but they're not going to make the 8. They're look, I said it last week. I think they're a better team, but I think this was more of a one-off that people need to realise is more of a one-off. But I want to get your guys' opinions on the top four. So Port Adelaide are obviously around that point, in my opinion. And we've also got West Coast who've just lost to the Suns. Do you think this detracts massively from West Coast ambitions this year? I'll go to you first, Hayden, because you're shaking your head. Do you feel like
I'm shaking my head? Nah, I've got West Coast in my top four. I've got them potential minor premiers. I think this is a slip up for them. They've still got all that class in the park, and I think they're a bit of a not a dark horse as such, but I think they could make another grand final appearance. It's weird saying that after coming off such a big loss, but they really do compete with the bigger teams, and they have a thing for losing against. But this type of loss, no one expected it, no one saw it. But I think West Coast will come out firing.
3% of people on tipping tipped them. 3%. They're all Suns.
3%. Sure. There you go. They're crazy. They're the ones we need to put in the mental homes.
Yeah, well, not really. Apparently, they saw something coming. Just before we move on as well, Port Adelaide. When the reason I was bringing them up is because I think that they've shot themselves into that contention for around that fourth spot. I'm still putting them in about sixth place or fifth place. I'd nearly put. I want to see it more. I want to see more consistency first, and they do have a good game against Freo coming up, which they should win, in my opinion, and we'll get to our tips in a second. They also have who else have they got coming up? So they've also got West Coast. The game against West Coast will be huge, in my opinion. That'll tell us where Port are. I think that'll tell us if they are one of those teams, and that'll also tell us where West Coast is. So I'm really looking forward to that game to tell us a lot about where both those two teams are at this point. Now we'll move into the Sunday games, but I think the only real one that's important there, in my opinion, was the GWS versus North Melbourne game, which I did tip. I did tip the Kangas, and I'm pretty happy with that one. I said Benny Brown was going to have a good game. Benny Brown was pretty integral, mate. What was your thoughts, Mr. GWS fan?
Benny Brown had a good game. I wouldn't say he was integral to their win. Cameron Zurhaar was. He's going to be an absolute star. He's a bull. He'll just run through a pack like there's no tomorrow. I reckon by the end of the year, Cameron Zurhaar will be better than Jordan De Goey. There's a big call. But yeah, they brought us down into the trenches, and that's the Shimbona spirit. They just wanted to play scrappy footy, and that's what they got. We couldn't bring out the orange tsunami that we're known for.
Do you think GWS are the same as they were last year, or better, or worse? Because I think I haven't got them in my top 4 or top 6. I've got them in the 8. I have them about 7th.
No, yeah, I've got them 7th.
We're a better side than last year. We finally got a ruckman in Sauce Jacobs. Shane Mumford, great servant to the club. Without him and Heath Shaw coming over instead of Buddy Franklin, no way we play in the grand final. But we finally got a ruckman that's going to give first use to our midfielders. And you've seen our midfield, our engine room. It's elite.
So you realistically see yourselves in the grand final?
I can see us back in the grand final. Watch us on Friday night against the Dogs under the roof at Etihad. And I tell you what, the Western Bulldogs hamstrings want to be pretty warm, because they're going to be doing a lot of chasing. Lockie Whitfield off a half-back flank, Josh Kelly off the wing.
That's a really good way to transition, actually. Let's move into our tips. So let's move into our tips there, because obviously, the Friday night game is that. Now, the first game of the round, firstly, is Richmond versus Hawthorn. Now, Hayden, we're going to go to you first. Who are you tipping in that game, and how much do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm going to go Richmond. They're red hot start. Obviously, it was a draw. They didn't get the win that they were after. I think they get the win here. Quite a few goals. I've gone Richmond by 28.
Yeah, I'm going to go Richmond here, and I'm going to go by 42. I still think I don't rate Hawthorn this year. I said it last week. I'm saying it now. I just witnessed this absolutely flog them across the park, and I don't believe we're as good a team as Richmond are. So I think Hawthorn will bounce in the sense that they'll bounce away from a 60-point loss, but they'll move towards more 40. I don't know. I think they'll match up a little bit better with Richmond, but I still think that Richmond will get a decent win against them. And I'm going to go Richmond there. Okay, so next up we got Western Bulldogs versus GWS Giants. I will go first, and I am going to tip GWS in this one. I'm sorry, Hayden. I got to go with the Giants here. I think they will bounce back. I have seen firsthand that they are a good team, and they are going to be on a nice field there. It is at Marvel, though. It is at Marvel, so it's going to be it's obviously on the home turf of the Dogs. But do I class that as home turf really this year with no fans? The Dogs don't really have too many fans at their stadiums, really. Anyway, and that's not actually having a go at them. But I've been there personally. I do my vlogs at these games. I know who has fans and know who doesn't have fans. And I tell you what, Bulldogs fans, love them. but there just isn't as many as you would expect, really, considering of how much of I wouldn't call them an illustrious club, but they have got a long history. So, but anyway, I'm not going to say too much more on that. I'm going with GWS, and I'm going to go by a close one. I'm going to go by 13. I'll go 13. Not too out of there, but still a decent enough win.
Yeah, I'm going against the Dogs here. I think it'll be fairly close. I think we can bounce back a bit, but I don't expect us to win. So I've gone the Giants by 10. And I feel like this game could be a little bit low scoring.
Yeah, well, you got to start catching up on your tips because you only got 3 out of 8 last week. And also, just to quickly clarify, guys, this man, he tipped the Swans. He didn't tip Essendon. I unfortunately, I
saw it on Instagram.
I tipped Essendon, but if you guys go and listen to that, because he actually called himself out on it. I had him as Essendon on the picture that we put on the Instagram, on the In the Sheds Instagram page. But this bloody cheating little sneaker, he actually tipped the Swans by 14, not Essendon. So I got that one. He's on 3 tips. I'm on 6, and I'm leading across the park right now. But James, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you reckon?
Oh, the Giants. I think the Giants will win easily. We'll bounce back. We're a good side. The Western Bulldogs showed on Sunday that they're not much chop this year, especially without Lockie Hunter and Easton Wood controlling not only the midfield but the back line in Easton Wood. I'd say the Giants by 40 plus. We'll bounce
40
back.
Plus?
Yeah.
I don't think so, mate. I don't think so.
It's gonna be like Wings up against Happy Clapper. We'll stay with you until 3/4 time, and then we're just gonna
see you later, Wings. Yeah, I love it. Next up, we've got North Melbourne versus the Sydney Swans, and Hayden, I go to you, son.
Tough game to tip.
He didn't want to go first with this one. He wanted to see what I was about to tip.
Yeah, I wanted to see what you said because you're all over the North Melbourne this year. You've got them outside the 8. You've got them, I think, 9th or 10th, haven't you?
I've got them about 9th. Yeah, I'd go 9th.
Yeah, about 9th. Well, look, I'm going to go the opposite way. I think the Swans are improving. Buddy not in the side is huge for him, but I still think they can win some games. I'm going to go the Swans
scared
by
right
5.
Now, James. You've got the Swans by 5. James looks terrified. So I know he's going to be thumbsing up me here because I'm going the Kangas, mate. I'm going the Kangas, and I'm going to go the Kangas by about 24 points. I think.
Put some more on it.
Put some more on it. Okay, well, let's bang it up to 100. No, I'm joking. But I reckon Kangas are going to get a convincing win here. I don't rate the Swans this year, and I just don't. The Swans aren't looking great. I think they could genuinely be around the bottom 4 area. I just don't think they're going to be great this year. All right, next up, we're going to move on to Collinwood versus St Kilda. I'm up, and I'm going to take Collinwood here by, I reckon they're going to win by, I'm going to say 28. I think it's not going to be an outrageous score, but I think 28 is going to be where they bounce back from a draw where they should have won. And I think St Kilda will be in it, but I think the last quarter that Collingwood will realise that's where we kind of fell apart. Well, they fell apart in the second half, really. But I think Collingwood will realise in this game that they need to focus on keeping at it in the second half and to show they've got their premiership credentials. Hayden, what's your tip here?
I think St Kilda will win, so don't. Calm down.
Yeah,
I was going to say that I think St Kilda will be just outside the top 8 this year. I think they'll have some good wins, but I feel like this will be one of their worst losses of the season. I'm tipping Collingwood to respond to that draw with a big win. I'm tipping Collingwood by 49.
Oh my god! James is angry. You can see him.
All right. Let me just get this straight. Right. Collingwood, who kicked 5 goals on Thursday night, you're going to say they're going to whoop them by 49 points at the G again. All right, so it could get same conditions, a bit dewy and whatnot. The Saints are a good side this year. They're about 12 months to 2 years away from, putting themselves up there as a top 4 contender.
I gave him some kind of credit, mate. I gave him some credit.
I said that they'll be just outside the 8 and they'll have a really good
You've given them good credit for the year, but this game you haven't given credit. But
Collingwood will come out all guns blazing. I've got no doubt about that. They'll have a point to prove after last week, but I reckon the Saints can hold them. I don't think they'll win. I think Collingwood by under a goal. It's going to be the match of the round.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's well, there you go. So we both tipped Collingwood there, but one by half a ton, and the other one by half a ton. All right, it's the next one. We got Geelong versus the Geelong versus the Cats. We got Geelong versus Carlton. Hayden, you're up here.
Geelong by 25.
Yeah, we're going to make this quick. I'm taking Geelong by 45, mate. Brisbane Lions versus West Coast, and I have to take the first tip here. Jeez. Oh, no, I don't like this one. I am going to go Brisbane. I will go Brisbane, and I'm going to say Brisbane by 7. I reckon it'll be a really close one. I reckon West Coast will want to bounce back, and that's why it'll be close. I reckon that Brisbane will get a very close win here. I'm taking them by 7. Good old Charlie Cameron. Let's get him another 3 goals. Let's go.
I've got the opposition by 7. I've got the Eagles by 7. So it's good to go against each other by that same margin there. It's really funny because I've got Brisbane in my top 4. I think they're going to be quite a dangerous side.
Yeah, but you got West Coast in top 4 too. So
I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I think Lachie Neale is going to be massive this year. I think he's going to be absolutely huge. So I want to see him get some Brownlow votes in this game and get a nice win. But I've got the Eagles by 7. That loss is really going to hurt them. It's at Brisbane though, which really does worry me. But as you said, home field advantage isn't considered too much this year. So
AFL's a little bit different to rugby league. AFL's a little bit different because there is different dimensions for different fields. There is wider fields compared to it. It is. There is a little bit of a home advantage, but not too much. I agree because I think of home advantage as the home fans. Let's move on to Sunday. We've got the Suns and the Crows. And, oh, my God, you get the easy one again. We'll quickly go through that. So how much are you tipping? And actually, no, it's not necessarily an easy one to tip, but go on, tell me. Go on, mate.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a tough one to tip. Both of these sides are inconsistent. I'm going to go the Suns getting back-to-back wins. I think this game will be very, very, very close. I'm tipping the Suns by 2.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a big call. I'm actually going to take the Crows here. I think they got embarrassed by Port Adelaide. I think they're going to want to bounce back off the showdown. James, I don't know if he's
going with me.
Yeah, well, he can go with you all you like, but he's also a GWS fan. So, no, I'm joking. Sorry, James. I got to start doing that. To you. But because you're a bogey team for me, I got to have some form of dislike. But I think the Crows will bounce back. I think they've been slaughtered in the media this week, slaughtered, and I think that they need to come back. And the Gold Coast, yeah, they're bouncing off a win, but I'm sorry, I just can't see them beating the Crows. Essendon versus the D's, and that one is going to be me, and I am going to take the Bombers here. I'm going to take the Bombers here, and I'm going to take the Bombers by 20. I think that the D's will stay in it, but I think that's a fair score. 20 points. Take it home. Go head on to the next game, and I think Essendon, yeah. And then they play Carlton next week as well, so they'll definitely want to be wanting a couple of wins on the trot here. There'll be 3 wins in a row when they play up against Carlton. So, Hayden, who's your tip in that one?
Yeah, I've got Essendon. I'm going with you there. I've got Essendon by 18.
And Freo versus Port Adelaide to finish us off. Hayden, what's your tip?
Very close to that scoreline. I've got Port by 17. I think Freo showed a bit of a fight last week. I think they can keep it a bit closer than people expect. I think everyone will be tipping Port by 30 plus, but
yep.
I'll go Port by 17.
Yep, everyone includes me. I'm tipping Port by 30 plus. I'm going to tip Port by 36. I think they could actually score more. I think they could. And I underdid Geelong last week. I told you Geelong would win by a lot, but I underdid them. I think I put like 30 or 40 or something like that. So I think I did underdo. Yeah, I did underdo them. But I think that's the same thing here. I think that Port genuinely could win by another cricket score. But I'm going to give it a little bit closer just to kind of see how I feel about Port this year and see if the consistency is there. So I'm going to go with 36. What's your thoughts, James?
Oh, I agree. It could be a cricket score to the Power, or I reckon the Dockers could, pinch it. But I've tipped Port Adelaide with 0 confidence.
Alrighty, guys, just to finish this up for the AFL, we need to come up with our team for the round. So obviously we can each do a different team, whatever, but we're going to go team of the round. And first up, Hayden, you're up first. What's your AFL team of the round for last week?
I think it would have to be Port Adelaide. I think they really turned up in that Adelaide derby. The Crows didn't play very well. I'll give them that. But I think Port Adelaide really showed that they are a potential threat and throwing themselves in. I'll give it to Port Adelaide as the team of the round.
Oh, easy for me. It was the Suns. No one expected them to win. It was 3%. That's next to no one. They put a premiership contender on their backsides and they ran over the top of them in the second half. And I hope we see it more often this year.
I'm going to tell you right now, I like that you've gone Port Adelaide because they're probably, I like Port Adelaide. I think they did obviously prove a point with their win. And I understand what you were saying with the Suns. I'm not going to go them, but St Kilda are a shout. They are a shout. because they obviously won it by a decent margin against a team that were favourites over the top of them. But I am actually going to go with North Melbourne here. I think that North Melbourne have come out. They've come against a top team in GWS. A lot of people don't rate them. A lot of people do rate them. But I think that this is regarding GWS, by the way. North Melbourne, I'm right behind this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Essendon or North Melbourne. I've got Essendon in the 8, but I wouldn't be surprised if North Melbourne took their spot in regards to the 8. So I think that's pretty fair to say. And I'm getting right behind the Kangas, mate. The Kangas. You gotta love them. You gotta love them. So that is going to wrap us up for the AFL. And next up, let's get into some rugby league chat. The rugby league. So boys, let's go straight into it. The NRL, obviously last week, we had Manly versus the Broncos, 20-18 Manly. We had 37-26 in favour of the Warriors over the Cowboys. We had Parramatta Eels going 4-1 to win 16-10 over the Panthers. We had the Rabbitohs coming through over the top of the Titans, 32-12. We had the Storm getting up 26-12 over the Knights. The Raiders, 14-6 over the Tigers. The Sharkies going down to the Dragons, 30-16. And then we had the Roosters touching up the Doggies, 42-6. So firstly, just a quick overview of the round, lads. What are your thoughts?
It was funny. I was talking during the day last Thursday with one of my mates who's a Broncos fan, and he said to me that the Broncos were going to bounce back. I do all the time. I pray to the higher aboves that he sees the light. But he said the Broncos were going to bounce back, and they did to an extent, and they choked, which was great to see. But then you lead on throughout the rest of the weekend. I didn't think it was a great weekend of rugby league.
It wasn't, mate. It wasn't.
I think the Eels and Panthers game was the standout, just because it was finals like footy. And if we got that every week for every game, the NRL would be one of the most watched sports in the world. But obviously the gap between the top and the bottom of the ladder, have a look at the Eels, have a look at the Bulldogs, way too big of a gap. And yes, we just finished talking about the AFL. There's not that big of a gap there.
There isn't. Like we were just talking about the AFL. Like I said, North Melbourne are there, Essendon are there, St Kilda are there. There's heaps of teams that are around that 8. And with the rugby league, I just don't know. Like the Warriors and Cowboys, I don't rate them anywhere near the 8. A lot of people do tip the Cowboys. What to do? They're not. I
think with the Warriors this year, I think they're not going to get a free ride through. I think we all got to take into account what they've sacrificed to get this season where it is. If they can steal a final spot this year,
they're not.
They're not going to. But if they can somehow do that, everyone who isn't in the finals are going to jump on the Warriors bandwagon. Because I'll tell you what, I'd put it up there with Leicester in the Premier League as to how big of a fairy tale ride it would be.
When you're a team up the top, I know what you're saying about Leicester, but when you're a team up the top, I'm sorry, I wasn't. Actually, I was getting behind Leicester over Tottenham. Actually, I will give you that. But I think I'm getting behind the Warriors. They're a team that I actually pre-season tipped last, and I think that they would have come last if this all didn't happen and they didn't have this motivation. I think they've gotten a lot of motivation from this. I think that they've really gotten behind it. And I think that, unfortunately for the Titans and the Dragons and the Dogs and even the Sharks apparently nowadays, I think it's been a detriment to the Warriors finishing at the bottom of the table. I think that it really has helped them. So, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to make the top 8, but I'm definitely getting behind them this season to win a few games and pull a few shocks, really, because this game style really does suit them. The game style that we have now, the fast-paced footy that we're seeing, really does help them.
It does. And it helps a lot of teams. But I just love watching the Warriors play. Like, Nick Arima just leads them around the field like there's no tomorrow. And they've got arguably one of the best players in their competition sitting at number 1 at the moment. So,
you know what I tell you? I'm going to tell you right now on what you just said. I think that this, unfortunately, and it's scary to say this, considering they've just won back-to-back, but I watched the Bulldogs-Roosters game last night, and this game style really does suit the Roosters. It really suits the Roosters. They're fast-paced. The Storm have had to adjust, and I can see it start. If the Storm adjust quickly, like Craig Bellamy will get them to do, they'll go bang as well. I honestly, dead set, would not be surprised, and it pains me to say it. It really, really pains me to say it, but I wouldn't be surprised with another Roosters Melbourne Storm grand final at this point, simply because Craig Bellamy has already started to adjust. Look what happened with the Knights. He came out and they won that game.
Awesome.
So they did. They won convincingly. I know Knights fans. They were in. Yeah, they were, but they weren't. Like, we could tell that the Storm were going to win that game. So Craig Bellamy came under a lot of criticism. That's not Bellamy. The Storm. The Storm came under a lot of criticism, and he obviously has gone and proved that they can adjust. And I'm honestly, at this point right now, it dead set would not surprise me with the Storm versus Roosters grand final. What do you think, Hayden?
Yeah, I think you could be right. It's something we've spoken about. We've spoken about it for a little while now. And there's still those teams, like even I think Parramatta, Manly, Canberra haven't been great, but they're still...
Neither have Manly, though.
Yeah.
There's been a few of those top teams that are starting a little bit to shake a little bit.
I think we've all got to face the fact that the Roosters are going to be there. We've all kind of put them under the radar, and I think we need to accept that they're going to be there in the top four and probably going to be in a prelim or grand final.
Yeah, but I guess we're going to see that this week because obviously this week they come up against the Eels. And although I still think the Eels have been shaky too, I think they're going to get brought back to... And this is I'm going to make my tip here because it relates to what we're talking about. But I am tipping the Roosters, and I think this is going to be the Eels' reality check. It's cool, whatever anyone wants to say. If they don't, cool. And the Eels prove themselves to me. If the Eels beat the Roosters, they 100% prove themselves to me. There we go. Congratulations. I will get behind them they'll be, 5-1 next week. Cool. So the point of the matter is, and I love saying that because Hayden always says that I say point of the matter is, but the point of the matter damn well is the Roosters are going to be there. The 0-2 start was a null and void. It was a null and void. And we've obviously seen that they've come out, they've beaten the Rabbitohs convincingly. They flogged the Broncos. Go on.
On what you're saying, where is it? Let me get this up. I actually have the scoreline of the last 3 games and what the Roosters have scored. And you will not believe it. It is 129 to the Roosters. And the Rabbits, the Broncos and Dogs are 18.
Yeah, but the Broncos didn't score anything. So that's just Rabbits and Dogs who've scored those points too. Yeah, so that's mad. That's mad.
Crazy.
Yeah,
That's
some mad things, mate. That's some mad things. But that's not. Go on.
I was going to jump my thoughts on the round a bit.
Yeah, go on, mate. You say what you want. This is a free podcast. This is your podcast,
mate.
Well, go on.
All right. I think talking points. Our man Tommy Turbo. He's at the top of the Dally M leaderboard now. So
we both tipped him for Dally M. We did both tip him for Dally M.
We've both got him for Dally M. So that's a good sign. Manly obviously put in a fight in that second half, but they still weren't impressive.
Still won.
Parramatta. Oof, lucky, I think. Very lucky. Put in a fight, but very lucky.
I don't know if I'd call lucky. I don't know if I'd say it's lucky. I'd think that I don't think you make your own luck. Like I don't think in rugby league it's ever lucky. There's a reason why a team wins. So I disagree in regards to lucky. I just think that the Panthers they just really that was Cleary's first game back, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I think I wouldn't say we were lucky on Friday night. I think you're not lucky if you're scoring 3 tries in 10 minutes. Like that 10 minutes of football, capture that in whatever you want and show it to the boys every week and say, this is what you're capable of. Like, let's see this for 80 minutes. And if they put that together for 80 minutes this weekend, the Roosters might have something to worry about.
Ooh.
Look, I honestly don't think the Eels are going to beat the Roosters. I think it'll be close. I think they'll give them a scare, but I also think that's in the first half. In the first half, I think the second half, Eels are going to get their reality check. And I'm actually, you know what? There's not really too much to really talk about. Look, the Dragons won. Cool, man. That's cool. The Sharks are also quite terrible this year, and I love the Sharks. Is like a second team to me, but my team Giants are terrible. So I'm literally at the point where I can just say everyone's shit at this point.
James, me and Blaze have been so against the West Tigers this year. I think they deserve a bit of credit on their game over the weekend. I thought the Tigers fought really well against the Canberra Raiders. Adam Dewey, obviously replacing Corey Thompson, who has now signed with the Gold Coast Titans, and that's big. That's real big.
It is starting on the weekend.
He's starting on the weekend. Let's wait until AJ Brimson comes back, lads, and then we'll see what happens. Because obviously we've got Don on the wing, and we've got Philip Sammy on the wing, and then we've got at fullback we've got AJ Brimson. So would you take who do you take out there? Do you take out Donny, or do you push Sammy, or what happens there? Sammy is I don't know, because Donny is consistent. Obviously, he didn't have a great game against the Rabbitohs, but he is a consistent player. And just a quick plug, obviously we spoke to Donny on the podcast on the Sunday just gone, so go and have a listen to it. But what do you guys do in that situation as non-biased fans? Because for me, it's very difficult because I think AJ Brimson obviously comes back fullback. I'm not even arguing that. You guys, the Corey Thompson, I'm sorry, it's not going to be our fullback. Brimson is our fullback.
For the first time, I reckon. Oh, sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
For the first time for quite some time with the Titans, they've got some hard decisions to make, and that's what every coach wants. Like for me, I love my cricket. Have a look over the years of how many first-class cricketers are trying to get into the Aussie cricket team. Just with the Titans now, like you've finally got some competition for spots. It must mean something's going right. They made a couple of good signings, and you never know. I'll let you in on a secret here, nice and early. I've tipped the Titans this week.
Yeah, I love it.
And I'm not saying that just because I'm on here trying to keep Blaze happy, and it's not like he slipped me a 20 to tell. Not like he slipped me a 20 to make me tip him.
If you want to tip higher, I'll slip you a 20. No, anyway, go on, keep going.
but no, they're not going to be the cellar dwellers this year. Like the Doggies have got that sewn up.
Okay.
And just back to the West Tigers quickly. Blaze and I both know. We both used to know a West Tigers fan. He's not a West Tigers fan. G'day, Chris. Hope you're going well.
Yeah, agree. Hello, Chris.
But no, I agree. The Tigers did show some grit, but how long is that going to last? Like,
I think it was a one-off. I definitely think it was a one-off, but I thought they were so brave, and the amount of shit that I've put on them and that Blaze has put on them as well.
I've put on way more shit than you have, mate.
Yeah, I reckon you've put a lot more than I have, but I thought that was
warranted, but we just beat them. And they were up by 10 points twice, and then up by a field goal with 3 minutes or 2 minutes to go in the game. Like, it's warranted.
I don't be a West Tigers fan.
And just for context, guys, that's obviously a personal joke. But a guy who does stuff with the BKRsport Facebook team, and he does a lot. His name's Chris, and he was a Tigers fan. He said if the Tigers lose to the Titans, he's not going to be a Tigers fan anymore. So he was obviously that confident, and he's not confident anymore. So, but let's move into. Go on.
He's going to enjoy being based out of Perth.
Yeah, there you go. But I'm not going to get that because then people are going to be like, oh, here we go. Blaze is just ripping on the Tigers again. Look, I don't mind the Tigers. I like them, but they're just not a good team. I'm sorry. They're not a good team this year. And I would not be surprised if they're bottom four with the other teams that I've mentioned. I just don't rate them. But then again, the Sharks are making a chance for that too. They're making
Tigers, Sharks, Doggies.
Dragons,
Who else
Titans.
would you put down there? I'd put Titans.
About 13th, 12th.
Look, I want to put the Titans outside the top four, but I'd probably have
outside
the
top
Dragons.
Four. I'll take fifth. I'll take sixth if you want. Outside the top four. That's what you just said.
No, outside the bottom four.
Yeah, I know. I'll take fifth though. But no, I agree. I would love to put the Titans outside the bottom four, but I think that we'll probably. I personally believe maybe 13th. I think I put them in 11th in my preseason prediction, but I don't think we can be that high up. I think we are at this stage. I think we could be better than the Sharkies. I think we could be better. Then again, the Sharks, we're a bogey team for the Sharks, so we could beat them, but they could still finish above us. I think the Sharks will probably actually finish above us. I think we'll finish above the Dogs. I think we'll finish above the what's the other team? The Dragons. I think we could finish above the Tigers. We probably should finish above the Tigers, in my personal opinion. And I don't necessarily rate the Cowboys this year, but I think they'll be good enough to be above us. So I'd give us maybe 13th, something like that. But guys, let's move into the next round, because obviously, like we said, there wasn't too much really there to go on this week. But we'll go into the next round, and that is the first game, which is the Knights vs Broncos. I will be live streaming this, guys, and I'll go. No, you know what, Hayden? I'm going to make you go first this one. Knights vs Broncos. Who you going?
Me go first. I think Brisbane are booming for a win, but I don't think it'll be this game.
Yeah,
they're
thank
definitely
God.
due.
Thank you. I'm going to slap you right
There
up
we go.
Brisbane.
No, Newcastle have been in some great form. You guys said it was a bit of a blowout for the old Knights against the Storm. I disagree. I was at that game, and I think they put in a real fight.
I don't think we said blowout. We just said decently convincing win. No,
I don't think so. I still don't think Melbourne have been at their best this year. I really don't think I've seen them at their best this year at all.
They haven't. The Storm are still adjusting, and the Knights are going to be there or thereabouts this year. They're going to put up a good fight.
That's why I've got
every game this year.
Your wording just then is 7th, 8th, and that's where I've got them.
Yeah, and it's true. And I tell you what, this year especially, when they signed Kalen Ponga for 4 years today, that's going to give him an extra motivation. And he said, in exchange for a 4-year contract, I'm going to bring a premiership back to the Hunter Valley. And now my mum is a Newcastle Knights fan. We won't hold that against her. But it's better than being a Carlton or Collingwood fan too. The good thing is with the Knights is you know what they're going to get from them. Know what you're going to get from them. And they'll beat the Broncos on Thursday night. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'll go with the Knights here as well. I'm going to tip them by. I can understand where you're coming from, Hayden, in regards to the fact that you think the Broncos could try and put up a fight here. I think that it's a lot more difficult of a game to predict, but I will tip the Knights here by 10. I don't think they're going to wallop them, but I think 10 points is a pretty fairly reasonable scoreline. It's still a decent enough win. It's not like I guess I'd put it a 10-point win in rugby league would be similar to what like a 22-point win in the AFL, I guess, something like that. That's what I would kind of imagine it to be. But let's go on to the next game. Oh, well,
I've got Newcastle by 8.
Oh, sorry, I already thought you made your tip. Oh, sorry, mate.
No, I didn't mention the number.
Oh, there you go.
I cut him off.
Yeah, you got damn well, James. Damn you, James. No, it's all good.
Shit, bloke.
Rabbitohs versus Warriors, and I am up first, so I am going to take the Rabbitohs here. I think that they're looking not great. I don't think they were great against the Titans. I don't at all. I think that and I'm not taking this away from the Rabbitohs. They deservedly won. Not blaming refs whatsoever. But there was one try that honestly came out today and said that we should have gotten the Bryce Cartwright try. So that he apologised for that. Cool. No one cares about your NRL apology, mate. Doesn't help. And there was 2 tries in the first half. The Rabbitohs scored on the back of a bad call of the previous set. So you could do. I think the Rabbitohs win that game no matter what. So don't think that I'm bloody ref shaming or whatever. But I just think that the Rabbitohs, that proves how much the Rabbitohs aren't up to the standard that we all think they actually are at. Their 32-12 win was not convincing in the slightest. And it's disappointing because I'll tell you right now, before filming that preseason predictions video, I was close to putting them in first. But then I didn't, and I put them in like 4th or something, or 5th. I think I ended up putting them in 5th or whatever. So I'm going to tip the Rabbitohs here, and if they don't win, there's lots of questions to be asked about them. Hayden, what's your thoughts?
What's your margin?
Rabbitohs by... I'm going to say they're going to get a decent win here by 16.
Yeah, there we go. We've both got Rabbits 13+. I think Rabbits are a team that at the moment they're right down the bottom, and that's really, really worrying. And I think
they're 10th place.
10th? Okay, well, last week they were in 13th. So they were bottom 4. I think that this new rule, they're getting their star players back. You've got your Cody Walker back. I think they're going to adjust to it. I think Cook will have a big game. I think he really needs to adjust to these rules. So I've got the Rabbits by 14. I don't think they'll win by more than 20. I think the Warriors have been quite a competitive side, but I think the Rabbitohs will run away with it a little bit too much in the end.
Let's move into the Storm versus Panthers game. And who's up? Is it me? No, it's you. You're up. Storm versus Panthers, mate. Who you going?
I think this will be a very close game. I think Penrith have the potential to upset in this game, but I do see Melbourne winning it. Not by much, though. I see this being very close. I see Penrith being right involved in it, and I'm tipping the Storm by 6.
Tipping the Storm by 6. Okay, this is actually a really hard one for me to predict as well. I don't really know, and I don't do any notes or anything in regards to who I'm tipping prior to coming on here. I just want to listen to everyone's thoughts and then kind of gather something. And Panthers versus Storm, look, this is a really, really difficult one. I guess, look, I think the Storm will win, but just so that it's interesting regarding tips, I am going to take the Panthers because I think that it'll be a good game. It could go either way. I think the Panthers will want to bounce back after their loss to the Eels, and I think the Storm are still adjusting. The Storm were very clinical, so I'm going to go Panthers. I'll go Panthers. Whoopsie do. I'll go Panthers, and I'll say Panthers by 4. James, what are your thoughts on that one?
I've tipped Melbourne, and I think you might need to listen to some of my tips this week, Blaze. I see how you are on the BKR tipping competition.
Listen to him talk. Listen to him talk some smack. If you look at the In the Sheds tipping competition, I'm leading them all, mate. Yeah, how you going, Hayden? Yeah. Hayden, how you going?
Not good.
Yeah. It all, mate. But no, I was having a chat with one of my mates who I went for a round of golf with last week, and Cam Munster's going to adjust to these new rules so quickly. He looked good. He looked good last week, and I reckon it'll be the Cam Munster show on Friday night. If you're a Melbourne Storm fan, 7:55, don't change the channel off Fox League and just watch Cam Munster rip Nathan Cleary a new one.
Well, this game is probably I'm thinking Storm too, but I'll go Panthers just to make it a little bit more interesting and give us kind of backing against the favourite, I guess. But I think that the Panthers are still a good enough team to win this game. Moving on to the next game, which is the Titans versus the Dragons. I'm going to tip right here. I'm going to tell you guys right here, even if I didn't think we were going to win this game, it's still a game between two shithouse teams. So I'm going to back my boys in. When we're both shithouse teams, I'm going to back my boys in. We've got Corey Thompson there. We've got our back line I like. Our back line is looking nice. We've seen that our players in the second half against the Rabbitohs do have what it takes to mix it with the I don't know if you call Rabbitohs big boys, but they should be big boys. And I'm going to take the Titans here, and I'm actually going to take us by 12. I think we get a decent enough win. Hayden, what's your thoughts?
I'm going the opposite. Sorry to piss you off here.
Yeah, you're a dog, mate.
Titans do have Corey Thompson, which is a huge boost to them. But I had a look at the Dragons team list, and I actually think they finally have got their team solidly right. You've got Corey Norman in the number 6. You've got Ben Hunt in jersey 14, which I think that's where he should play. I don't think he's a starting player. I think he's a good bench player. And Matt Duffy, yeah, he's very inconsistent, but in that fullback role, he's quite good. A bit of a scoreline here, but I'm taking the Dragons by 16.
Get out of here. Hang the call up on this man. Hang the call up on this human being. No, he's not even a human being. Get this damn well man out of here. Tell ya.
Look, I can understand why you might have said some things like that. But then I thought you were going to bring your tips back to the Titans because I thought you were a logical man. If I was Blaze and I was live streaming the Gold Coast Titans game, at the 60th minute mark, I've got my feet up on the couch going, you beauty, how good is 2 points?
Beauty. Sink him in, son, sink him in. Oh, you know what? I'm going to change my tip to 14 just to go with you, James, there. I'm going to change my tip to Titans by 14 just to go to 13 plus alongside you. So there we go. We've got another couple of tips against each other. West Tigers versus the Cowboys. Bit of an interesting game tip here, Hayden. Who are you going with?
Originally, I'll let you know now, both of my Saturday night games, I've actually changed my tip today based on team lineups. As for the Cowboys, Jordan McLean out and Valentine Holmes is out. I spoke about the Tigers and I thought they were quite good against the Raiders. They also have a good record against the Cowboys, so I think it'll be real close, but I'm going to take the Tigers by 4 points.
I am going to take the... This is hard because they're both not great. With no Valentine Holmes though for the Cowboys, but then again, the Cowboys are going to want to. Going to want to win because they've lost a couple in a row now. Only for that reason, I think they're going to muster up something here, and I'm going to take the Cowboys. This game could easily be one of the worst games of the round. Honestly, this game could genuinely be something that I'm not even streaming. I'm not streaming. I'm streaming something else. Yeah, I'm doing Super Rugby or something like that. But the point of the matter is that, yeah, no, thank you. I'm not watching this game, but I'm going to tip the Cowboys. I'll take them in a boring 6-point win. There you go. Roosters versus Eels, and we have got me tipping. We already know who I'm tipping, and that's going to be the Chooksters, the mighty Chooksters, son. I'm going to take them, and I'm actually going to take them by 14 points. I think that they're going to be really close for 60 minutes, and then I think the Roosters will bring a reality check back to them, and I'll think they'll be like, you know what, we're still the back-to-back premiers. We're coming for you. You're not the best team in Sydney, and here's a little bit of a slap up for your troubles. Hayden, what's your thoughts as an Eels fan?
I hope I'm wrong about this. And as I said, I had changed my tip. I really wanted to back the Eels, but
just before you jump in here, last week the only tip that we changed between each other, we had every single tip the same except for the Panthers versus the Eels game. I tipped the Eels and you tipped the Panthers. So do you really want to go against your team again here?
Yeah, this game I will. I think the Roosters will be too good here. I think we'll be right in it. And I don't think you've mentioned that they'll win by 14, which is what they did last year. We were right in it in round 3 last year. And then we lost 32-18, which that game should have been 22-18 if it reflects on the performance of the players. But I think the Roosters will be too good here. I think it'll be fairly low scoring as well. I'm going to take the Roosters 20 to the Eels 14, but God, I hope I'm wrong.
Then we'll move on to Raiders and Seagulls. This is a tough one here. Hayden, who are you taking?
Marty Tapau's out for Manly. Raiders haven't been impressive. Speaking of a field goal, this will be your game of the round, guys. I'm taking the Raiders here by 1 point. I'm going to say with about 4 minutes to go, Jack Whiten kicks a field goal for the Raiders, stopping everyone from what they wanted, which is a golden point thriller. I think the Raiders beat Manly, and I think they do it by 1.
All right, I'm taking Manly. I'm taking Manly. I'm taking the Manly.
Your boy DCE.
Shut your damn well mouth down there. Shut your damn well mouth talking my boy, buddy, DC. I can't even say what his actual name is because this podcast, we can't really swear, really. Sometimes it has it, but, what do you do? But I'm taking Manly, and I'm going to take by 2 points. I reckon field goal could be a shout. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take it by field goal, and I'm going to give it to a Cherry Evans field goal. 40 out. See you later. Good night, Irene. I hate you, but... there you go. You got to love a field goal game right there. Finally, guys, we have the Bulldogs and the Sharkies. Oh, well, that's not. I think it's actually Sharks Bulldogs, but I'm taking Sharks. I think they'll bounce back. I think they've been embarrassed, and that's as far as the cookie crumbles, in my opinion. I don't think there's too much to talk about here besides the fact that I was embarrassed to watch 2 tries to Angus Crichton on that Bulldogs defence. They've lost their defensive mojo, and I know the Sharkies here. They could go either way. Shithouse game. Not streaming it. Good luck if you are watching it. And that's all I have to say. Hayden, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, Sharkies are a team that are known to respond well most of the time, but I think it'll be the opposite. I'm not impressed by them at all this year. I'm going to go for a bit of an upset. I guess both these teams should be $1.80 each, but I'll go the Doggies by 2.
Both these teams should be $10 each, mate. And just whoever, it should
Pretty
be.
much.
Yeah.
Good money.
Best of luck trying to find the winner, essentially.
But that is going to wrap us up, guys. Actually, just quickly, NRL team of the round. Who was? We'll go to James first. Who is your team of the round?
People will say I'm biased, but the Eels, when you're down 10-0 against a quality side and you come back and it was comfortable in the end. Yes, the last 2 minutes were a bit frantic, but it ended up being a pretty comfy win.
I actually still think it'll go to the Storm here. They came up against a good team in the Knights. They came up against a really good team in the Knights, and I wouldn't say really good team, but apparently, buddy Hayden and AJ, I think they're top 4 by damn high quality. But I think that the Storm, although they weren't exactly still the greatest, they still won 26-14, and it was a comfortable performance in my opinion. I don't think they flogged them, but it was a comfortable performance. So I think that even when it was close, it wasn't close for me. So that's why I'll go with the Storm, and I think that that's a testament to say that they weren't their greatest, and yet they're still taking down a team like the Knights.
But I'm going to go the Warriors. I thought the Warriors were quite good this round, and we've spoken about Nikorima a couple of times. He's really starting to gel with the team. Peter Hiku, who wasn't even expected to be in the side, he scored a hat-trick. Saw a few hat-tricks over the weekend. Teddy, Hiku, we haven't seen him much this year, but I think I'm going to give it to the Warriors. I think the credit where credit is due. As I said, I think their defence still needs work, but as an attacking team, and I think they're finding the right style of footy and definitely finding themselves out of the top bottom too.
So I know, NRL, that's going to sign us off for that one, and we're going to move into a big one here. My boys, here we go. Premier League, son. We're getting into the Premier League. And obviously, it is back this week. We start off with a pretty average game. I think Aston Villa play Sheffield United or something like that in the first game, but football's back. We have Man City versus Arsenal in the game right after that. Actually, are we playing at the Emirates or are we playing at the Etihad? Which one are we playing at? Do you guys know? No, you don't know? Okay, well, I'll just go and have a quick little look here because we've got one West Ham fan here and we've got one damn Chelsea fan. Gee whiz, you buddy, 2 bloody Londoners here. It is at the Etihad. But, boys, I'm excited.
Hey, Blaze,
what?
Just quickly, your boys have got a distinct unfair advantage there, aren't they? They're used to not playing in front of many.
Oh, here we go. Listen to him talk. I just want to let you know that we have the record for most in attendance in history, just an FYI. Yeah, I think it was back in the 90s or the 80s. Yeah, hold on. West Ham, you got a whole brand new stadium. Tell me.
That we can't fill.
No, you can get a lot of people there. No, you get a lot of people there. But I don't know why they go there, is my point, because you guys are dreadful. You guys are not great. So, listen here, Mr. Talkie.
One good thing that we both have in common, right, is we both beat Chelsea.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're both a bunch of dicks.
I love it. But, yeah, boys, so let's get into a couple of our predictions because obviously this week is look, we're not going to get into our actual tips of the week, but we're going to get into our actual predictions for the end of the season. And I think it's going to be pretty simple to say when it comes to our predictions in regards to champion. And I'm a Man City fan. I'm not stupid though. I saw 2011-12 when we came back from 8 points down with not many games to go. I think it was 5 games to go, and we towered up United, and one of the greatest years of my life, and I can still remember 93-20 to the exact second of that beautiful, beautiful year. But we're not going to do it this year. 25 points behind. I'm sorry, and we are a game behind those. So we're actually probably 22 points behind, but we have a good game against Arsenal here. Oh, what? What are you laughing? You think we're going to lose to Arsenal, do you, James?
No, that's just not going to do anything. What happens this weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I'm just saying, like, Liverpool are winning. If someone, I'm going to go. Tell me right now, who thinks that Liverpool are not going to win the league?
I do.
You do what?
Think that Liverpool are going to win the league.
Okay.
I thought you were asking us. You were talking about the audience.
just to anyone out there that's listening, if anyone tries to convince you that Liverpool aren't winning the league, A, give them my number because they seem like a top bloke because no one wants Liverpool to win the league. But B, also probably go and check them into a mental asylum because they're going to do this by the length of the Flemington Straight. We talked off camera. It's one of the most unbelievable years we've seen.
I would throw out here that it won't be the length of Flemington Straight, because in regards to that, I'd think that you'd be saying like then 28 points, you'd be getting up that way. I think we might do them, but then again, there's all that talk that apparently we aren't allowed to play. The Etihad for their one game, so apparently the only game that could be moved away from any home stadium is the Man City vs Liverpool game to a neutral ground. Everton away at Goodison Park apparently was being talked about to be moved as well. So, let's just why don't we just have a dinner party for Liverpool at this point?
I don't think that's going ahead. I think the Merseyside derby will be.
No, that's being played at
Goodison Park.
No, it is being played, but apparently City vs Liverpool is the one that's still being up in the air.
No, that'll be played at the Etihad. Can you imagine all the plastics jumping up and down?
Would you just stop bloody Tamworth talking? Gee whiz, look at this man go. Why can't you start insulting bloody Chelsea over here for being plastics? They're already insulted enough.
We beat them and we're battling to stay up.
Yeah, that's a fair call. Well, okay, let's get into our top four predictions. So we'll go to you first here, James. Who's your top four?
Oh, well, Liverpool, no need to continue there. City, they're 6 points ahead of Leicester with a game in hand. Leicester's going to finish third. It's not really a dartboard job. If Chelsea don't finish fourth, there's something wrong. United are a game behind them.
I don't think United are going to come back into it, though.
I think the four that you see now is your top four. I don't know if you want my European qualification tip now.
Yeah, go on. Give it to us. Give it to us. Who's your fifth?
It's not going to be United. It's not going to be Wolverhampton.
Oh.
You know I love a bit of a fairy tale. You know I've got a soft spot for it.
You don't tell me you're going with Sheffield United.
Sheffield United are on 43 points.
Oh, he's going Sheffield United. He's going Sheffield United. He is.
But what have they done wrong to say that they can't sneak that fifth spot?
Well, I'll tell you right now who my top four and my fifth place is, and then they do. They don't have. Well, I wouldn't say any draw is easy when it comes to the end of the season, but especially when there's a few teams. There's actually quite a few teams down the bottom of the table that are looking at relegation right now. It's not just an easy 3 and out. There's literally about 7 teams that could still technically get relegated. So I don't think any game is easy at this point. We saw that with QPR back in 2011-12. QPR, they were bloody shitouts, and yet they nearly took us down. So. And we see it every year. The relegation battle is actually usually better than the actual top of the table, because it's really enjoyable to see if teams are going to continue to be shit or they're going to or pull something out of the hat. But I will tell you my top four right now. So I've got Liverpool winning. I've got us coming second. I've got the old boys Chelsea actually coming third. I think they will jump up over Leicester. I think they've got a little bit more of a relatively better draw than Leicester. I do have Leicester going fourth though. I don't think anyone comes over into fourth. I do have Wolves getting into fifth. I have probably United coming sixth and Sheffield coming seventh. So I think that's still a fantastic season for Sheffield. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that's still an unbelievable season. But I think Wolves have got a really, they've got a decent draw going into it compared. And I just don't really think that, I don't really think United are up to it this year. I think next year they're going to be a lot better, which pains me to say. But please do better, because we haven't seen you be good for years. And look, they beat us in the derby. Like, what do you do? You're cool. We've also won the last 2 bloody Premier Leagues in a row. We FA Cup, a League Cup. What do you want to go on? Like, the point of my is that United fans, they're like us in the mid-2000s, early 2000s, back in the 90s, when we couldn't win anything. So we were like, oh, yes, we beat United. Or, yes, we had a good game against them. It's like, now they're in our situation where they only like beating us and don't give a shit really about the high end of the table because they're just not good enough. So that's my thoughts, and I'm taking Wolves there for 5th. But what do you guys agree?
Yeah, yes and no. Just back on Sheffield for just 2 seconds here. I think
Sheffield.
one thing I do. It's a good story. Dean Henderson. If De Gea wants to bugger off to some other club, which I think he will in this next transfer market, Dean Henderson's already been touted as the replacement, and he's had a great year. I think he's got the most clean sheets in the league. Like, that's huge.
Yeah, well, Sheffield's a good defensive outlet. Outfit, sorry, not outlet. Outfit, yeah.
And they have Phil Jagielka as one of their centre halves.
Jagielka, the old toffee, mate. The old toffee.
Exactly. But the thing is, with Sheffield, what they've got for their advantage is, unlike most teams that get to, European qualification areas, they usually tire. They come back down, and your likes of Tottenham, United, Arsenal will sneak that Europa spot away from those sort of teams. But I know there'll be some excuses going on, a bit rusty, but fitness-wise, there's no excuses this year. Yeah, if you're in and around those European qualifications, you're going hell for leather here. Yes, I understand your relegation talk, and I hope we stay up. I think we will, but
yeah, I don't have you going down.
It's besides the top 2, all other 18 clubs have got something to play for.
Yeah, they do actually. Yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, oh yeah, 3rd, 4th. Yeah, they do. Everyone does. But Hayden, what's your top 5?
Yeah, I've got Liverpool being the champs. It's easy to see. Man City in 2nd. You've got Chelsea in 3rd. I think Leicester will stick it in there. I think they'll stay in 3rd place. I've got Chelsea in 4th.
I think Chelsea actually play Leicester in the final game of the final game of the season, actually. I'll have a look. You keep talking. I'm going to have a quick look.
Keep talking, yeah. So Chelsea in 4th. And like Blaze, I think the Wolves are going to be your qualifiers. I've got them in 5th position.
We're going to put on a show. Mark Noble's going to slot a penalty, and it's going to be a 1-0 win. That's all that matters. And you never know.
Mark Noble.
Mark Noble puts in a shift every game.
He does. That's why it's funny, though. But it's not bloody a world beater. Let's relax. Like, he's a great player for a mid-table team, like a lower-end mid-table team.
He's someone that is not yet out-and-out superstar, but he's always going to be the first name on your list.
You got to get around him. But look, I think the last game actually is Chelsea versus Wolves, so that's actually a really difficult game there. That's the last, but it is at Stamford. And who does Leicester play? Leicester plays United at the King Power. So that's actually going to be a really interesting final day of the season right there, because that could tell us a lot. United, Chelsea, Wolves, and Leicester are all playing each other, and they're the teams right now that we're going to be thinking about. Well, United not really, but they could still technically be there.
And I tell you what, I cannot wait for the next season of Premier League football already. I know plenty of Leeds United fans, and I think everyone knows at least one Leeds fan.
Yeah,
and
unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
I don't actually mind Leeds anyway compared to other teams, but go on.
Like, I can't wait for them to be back in the Premiership next year, unless they do a standard Leeds thing and bottle it here. I think I don't mind Leeds so much is because they hate United just as much as we do. Yes. I think that's probably why I don't mind Leeds. And then again, everyone hates United. Yeah, there it is. But we hate them more. Because I think Leeds are 5 points clear with, 10 games to go.
Leeds are going up. Yeah, Leeds are going up.
If they don't go, like, Bielsa's got them playing tiki-taka football, and it's great to watch. But if they don't go up, you'd hate to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah,
you would hate it.
There you go. Well, we've kind of briefly gone across the relegation. So let's actually get into our relegation right now. So I'm going to go, we'll start. So we're going to go in a triangle here, and we're going to go with 20th first. So in 20th place, and I'll start off first, in 20th place, I've got Norwich. I don't think they get off the bottom of the table. I don't rate their team, and a lot of teams have put a few past them this year. So I can't see them doing anything come the end of the season. There's too many teams around that relegation zone that are going to be starting to play well, and I think Norwich are too far behind now. So I'm going to say Norwich come last, and we'll go with you next, Hayden.
I agree. I think Norwich will come last. So
perfect. There we go. And James, Norwich. Who you got last?
I found it funny during the week. A lot of Norwich fans were jumping up and down because they beat Tottenham in a friendly.
Oh yeah, but so many teams got beaten in friendlies. Like
Tottenham played their decent side for the first 90 minutes. They played 4 quarters, so they played 120 minutes of football. And in that last quarter, they took off. I think they took off Dele Alli, Harry Kane, Kim Min Song. Like, that's Tottenham's attacking prowess.
Of course,
like,
that's everyone. That's Tottenham. That's Tottenham.
Yeah,
right there.
and they just put on a bunch of youngsters to give them a bit of time in the league.
Was
whereas
Lloris
Norwich, I think so.
Oh,
I think.
I don't know, yeah.
But then Norwich just put a couple of goals past them. Big whoop. Norwich, enjoy the championship. Like, get your 48 games down there or whatever it is, and don't come back the year after, please. I'm sick of seeing you go up and down like a yo-yo.
Well, that used to be us, mate. That used to be us in the early 2000s and 90s. But anyway, we'll go to 19th now. And Hayden, who's your place for 19th?
I've got Bournemouth.
Oh, damn, that's rough.
It's a roughie. It's a roughie. I've gone Bournemouth. I think that Aston Villa are going to move up to, I'm going to say, 18th, 17th. And I think Bournemouth might just drop.
I'm angry. How dare you disrespect Bournemouth like that? James, you go. 19th.
Oh, Villa. Same deal with Norwich. Go back to the championship. Enjoy bullying the other teams, and just don't come back the following year until you've got some decent managerial expectations.
Well, we talked down Watford 8-0, so I'm taking Watford in 19th. I'm taking Watford in 19th. I think they're not what they normally would be. They obviously, I like Troy Deeney. I like what Watford have put on the table the last couple of years, but I think their time's come to an end. I think that their miracle of remaining in the Premier League is unfortunately been their undo this year, and I can't see them taken out of that relegation zone. They could make 18th, but then I don't think they're going to get out. So, I think they'll drop down into the old spot of 19th. Now, James, you're going to start us off with the number 18, the number 1 relegation spot. The one is the hardest one to take. Who you got?
This is going to sound a bit harsh because I got a couple of Aussies.
If you say Brighton, shut your mouth. The Brighton are not getting relegated.
Listen to me, all right? They're on the same. I know.
Brighton.
They're only 2 points out of the relegation zone, right? But listen to their first 5 fixtures. Arsenal, all right? Yes, they got them at the AMX. Fair enough.
No, that can't be because we played them first. Oh no, actually, yes. Sorry, yeah. Go on.
Arsenal, Leicester, United, Norwich, Liverpool. All right, they're going to get done in 4 of those games. Right?
I reckon they could draw in at least 2 of those.
I'm putting them down. They're not picking up a point there, except against Norwich. But then you have a look at the likes of West Ham, Watford, and Bournemouth. They've all got games where they can pick off a win. I'm probably a little bit biased there. West Ham may struggle to get more than 1 win.
I can't see West Ham getting relegated, so there you go.
Oh, yeah. We just find a way to get our way out of the relegation zone. But, yeah, I hate to say it, but I think Brighton's probably going to go down this year.
I think
2 points out of the relegation.
You've both said some outrageous options here. You've both said some outrageous options. Right. This man with Bournemouth and this man with Brighton, you guys need to get some serious help.
I get that, but, it's the Premier League. It's strange things happen.
Strange things do happen, and I think I would think that Brighton have a better chance of getting relegated than Bournemouth, though, in my personal opinion. I think Bournemouth have a really nice team. Well, not really nice team, but they're definitely a team that I wouldn't put in relegation. But I'm going to go with Aston Villa here. I can't say they're not going to be relegated. So I just think that they're going to be there. They're not a great team, and I don't really have too much to say about this. See you later. It's a goal and ski. It's a goal and ski for the old Villa, the old Norwich, and the old Watford. And Hayden finishes off.
Screw James. I'm actually going to say that West Ham will be 18th. There you go. They're not going to find a way out this year. They're going to have a bit of a slip up. This is going to sound really, really strange, but I was fighting between a choke between Southampton and West Ham, and I think it will be West Ham who do finish off in 18th.
Yeah, wow. Okay, well, you've just you've broken the heart of a lot of West Ham fans, especially James. Let's move on to the goal scorer. So there's actually a few here. You could say Danny Ings at Southampton. He's got 15. But there is also, obviously, Jamie Vardy, who is on top right now. There is Sergio Aguero. There is Mohamed Salah. And there is also Aubameyang. And we will go to you first here, Hayden. Who are you going to take as your first goal scorer? Not first goal scorer, your top goal scorer.
Top goal scorer. I want to go Sergio Aguero, but I'm going to go with Mohamed Salah. Nah. I think Mohamed Salah will get it. I think he'll just sneak it. I think Liverpool will be too good and they will pile some points, and Salah will be one of the ones to do so. But I think Aguero will come very close. I still think Salah, Vardy, then Aguero.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. All right, James, who's your thoughts?
Look, I love watching Sadio Mane. It's not him.
No, it's not.
I'm not a fan of watching Mohamed Salah. I really don't. He's having a party. Get around Jamie Vardy, I'm telling you. He's 3 goals ahead of Aguero, I think.
Sergio's 16 and Jamie Vardy's 19, I believe.
Jamie Vardy just scores goals for fun. And I tell you what, he's going to want to keep Leicester in the Champions League. He's going to put away a couple of penalties throughout the end of the year. He's a star. I'm going to say he's England's best striker. He's better than the old Big Jim.
The old penalty, man.
Yeah, exactly. When was the last time you saw Harry Kane do something where you go, oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Maybe if he comes back from lockdown, he's got a chin reduction, like fair play. But Jamie Vardy, he just scores goals for fun, and he's having a party, and he's bringing his vodka.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys right now, and this will finish us off for the Premier League. So I'm going to tell you guys right now how many goals I think the 4, because I'm not including Danny Ings here, how the 4 are going to end. So I've got Aubameyang's on 17 right now, Salah's on 16, Vardy's on 19, and Sergio is on 16. So I've got Salah finishing on 22. I got him on 22 because I don't think they have too much to play for, and I just don't necessarily think that. Well, then again, they've got no Champions League, so maybe he might actually finish on more. But I'm going to say 22 there. Then we've also got Aubameyang. I've actually got him finishing on 24. I got him on finishing on 24, which is a decent margin. I've got Sergio.
Funny you say that. Sorry, with Aubameyang, do you think he's got a little bit to prove?
Yeah, I think he does, and he's a really pacey player too. You got to love him. You do got to love him. I think he's actually going to kick a couple on the last day. They play Watford as well, so I think Arsenal are going to. Yeah, but Watford might be playing for survival, man, so it could actually be a difficult one. But I'm going to take Aubameyang there for 24. So he's now. I've gone through Salah. I've gone through Aubameyang. Now Aguero. I've got him finishing on 23. So I've got him finishing in 3rd spot. So I've got Aubameyang finishing in 2nd. I've got Sergio Aguero finishing in 3rd. So that leaves Mr. Vardy, who's having a party, and he's going to score on the final day as well, which I've got because they play United, and I think he'll score 1 at least. I think he could even score 2 versus United. So I've got him finishing on 25 or 26, and I think that will. That does us. So I got Jamie Vardy. He's having a party, mate. He's having a big old party at the top. So, alrighty, guys. Well, that is going to do us for this episode. We've gone through, obviously, the Rugby League. We've gone through the AFL and the Premier League. We are actually going to start talking about some Super Rugby, but not on this episode because we cannot fit it in. There's just been so much that we've been chatting about. So we're actually going to be jumping across to the In the Sheds podcast YouTube channel. So you obviously got to go there, subscribe. We just hit 100 subscribers on there. So thank you very much for that. But we are jumping across there, and we're going to be talking about all Super Rugby, everything that happened on the weekend, everything that's going to happen this weekend, and just give our thoughts on that as well. So that'll be its own little clip. So if you love your Super Rugby, definitely hit over there. And we're also going to be chucking up clips and stuff for all these as well. So definitely go and subscribe. But that's going to do us for this for episode number 15. Thank you very much for James for jumping on, or Jamesy, as Hayden called him, Jamesy. Get around Jamesy.
Thanks for having me, boys. Hopefully I can come back on again one day. It's been a good chat.
Maybe. We'll see how we go. We'll see how we go. But no, you've been great, mate. We do appreciate you for jumping on and giving your AFL, Rugby League and Premier League analysis. But you did say something stupid about Brighton, you bloody idiot, I tell you.
Spicy.
Yeah, it's a spicy take. But also, big thank you to the big fella Hayden over here for jumping on as well.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jamesy. It was a real good pod, and look forward to hopefully seeing you on again soon.
But yeah, obviously, guys, thank you for watching. If you're listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn, thank you. Please leave us a review if you haven't already. But if you want to watch the actual video of us talking, then jump onto BKRsport YouTube, where we discuss everything and have the video up as well. Subscribe to myself at Entertain House, and also hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already, just to show that just so that you guys enjoy the content that we're putting out for you and the podcast that we're chucking out for you. We've got a huge guest on this Sunday, Te Roa Tahurirangi, which is going to be fantastic. All Blacks and Chiefs player. But that is going to do us for today, guys. So thanks for watching. Catch you later.